This is the thing as well, like, I don't really feel like Elro anymore. Like, that feels like a character or a part of my life. It doesn't really feel like me anymore. I was filming my video with Mike Skinner in Chepstow while the Brits was going on. We then got there later to the Warner Brothers Brits after party, and so every name you could imagine, like Bruno Mars, Adele, Ed Sheeran, who, when he walked in, my cousin who came with us just pinched his ass. So I basically lived like a rock star for a few years, just because you can charge anything to it. I mean, I hold my hands up, I fucked it up, but it's very easy to fall into a drink or drugs. I mean, look at artists. I mean, there's so many. It's so rare that you see an artist who's got no life issues whatsoever.
What's going on, people? Welcome back to 247, the podcast. We have another guest ready for you today. So before we get into it, I think we should give some subtle clues as to who's on the show today. Before he became a rapper, he has previous jobs that include being a comedian and also playing golf. To quite a high level, I think.
He's worked in music with some of the biggest names in the scene, including Mike Skinner, JME, and Getz.
He also has lots of videos on various YouTube channels and platforms, including SBTV, Grind Daily, and Noisy, to name a few.
Millions and millions and millions of views. He's none other than
Elro.
Yo.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
So we are going to start off a little bit differently.
Okay.
Before we ask you anything, I want our previous guest to ask you a question. So I've got a little video that we recorded with Rico last time.
Okay.
Which I'm going to show you now.
Elro's our next guest.
No way.
Is there a question you'd like to ask him?
Pick up Elro. To the question, I like that part. That's what they do on the Diary of CEO for the next guest.
No, it's a totally unique idea. We've not copied anything.
I just made this up. Spot on, like, yeah.
So the question I would like to ask Elro. Ask him, what would he say is something that he regrets in his music career?
Oh, that's a very good question.
How long have you got?
That's a good question.
We've got about an hour.
There are so many different answers to that. Probably, well, I don't know if it's a regret on my behalf, but it's a regret of how it panned out, kind of thing. I feel like it all happened a bit quick, and I was only still learning to rap when stuff kicked off, let alone make music. Like, I think rapping and making music are two quite separate things. Like, I think there's quite a lot of people who can rap, but I wouldn't personally listen to a lot of their music, and vice versa. There's people who I don't think are that good at rapping, but they can make music. But for me, like, I'd pretty much just done... I'd done little freestyles on my own channel and stuff, but for anyone else to see, I'd only done one freestyle, and it all kind of kicked off like that. So I feel like it all happened a bit quick. So, like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do with music. Yeah. By the time it was all happening,
You were thrown into it. Yeah.
Without even though in my head I was anticipating it, because I felt like there were no other sort of weird looking blokes who rapped about fingering. So I felt like there's a gap in the market for it. But I've sort of thought I might do all right. But yeah, it just happened a bit too quick, I think. So I didn't really know what I was doing, and then I got signed quite quick, and so I just put out whatever I thought, you know?
Like Liam had just said in one of the facts, I guess, in the introduction, you and I think you might have mentioned this in other podcasts or in interviews, that you could have been or wanted to have been a professional golfer.
Yeah, when I was younger.
How different would your life have been?
It's mad. Do you know what's weird?
Is that so? Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. The regret isn't that, you know, you're sat there here with Mark and Liam.
No.
The regret is if you just could have sat down with someone and had more advice or something.
Yeah, almost just maybe I needed to not just write a load of bars that I thought were good and then hope that kicks off with no other
because
plan.
You had nothing.
I wrote some stuff fairly quick and I was able to put stuff out, but obviously I put my favourite stuff into that.
Yeah.
And I had bits and bobs ready, but I think knowing what I know now, if it all happened, put it like this, if it all happened again now, I would know how to actually monetize it, for one thing. rather than just sign into a label. Because back then, streaming wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
TikTok wasn't a thing. Yeah. So if you wanted to get your name out there, if you get offered a record deal, you take it. Whereas these days, it's not as imperative that you have one, and you can do things differently. So I would plan more. I would not put it out until I had at least 3 things of the same standard ready. And that's what I say to all artists that I work with now, is that you can't just have one good thing. You've got to have that backed up with 3 or 4 ready to go in case one of them kicks off, so you can ride the wave then, essentially.
So you had no idea. You filmed the SBTV.
I did. In my head, I thought this is going to do well, because I just didn't see anything else.
As it did?
It might sound, I don't know, maybe not as well as it did, but in my head, I thought, I've never heard...
But what I'm asking is, there was still no backup plan? Really?
No.
No.
Really.
It was just... I've always just rolled with it, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I think it's very difficult, because it's such a unique circumstance to be in as well. You can't really anticipate all the little nuances of it, and all these tiny little things that you learn after. So if I had my brain that I have now, which is a bit of a dick to be fair, but it does know bits and bobs, I'd go about it differently. Because I just think it's a different market these days, and back then I just sort of blagged it as long as I could. And also I had no consistency, because basically as soon as that SB kicked off, I got signed, I was dealing with like extreme anxiety and all sorts of other stuff. And I got something called depersonalization, which to anyone that's got it will know how awful it is. But to anyone that's never had it, it will just sound like arbitrary pond, because it's such a hard thing to describe. But basically it felt like my entire brain had been rewired, and I wasn't me anymore. And this happened like one specific night in an instant and didn't go away for years. So like this happened as well, like I would say maybe a month into being signed. So I was having to deal with all this stuff, labels wanting this, that and the other, whilst I didn't even feel...
What's it like?
Let alone a human.
Is it a bit like imposter syndrome? Or is it something like that? Or?
It's the best way I can describe it is it's like if you were dropped down on an alien planet and you saw everything for what it was without any of your preconceptions. Like, we're wired to recognise humans, recognise all this, yeah? It's as if everything you've ever learned has been stripped, and you go back to basics and you see everything for what it is.
Sounds like DMT.
I think it's on the edge of that. It's the bad side effect type thing. But so I was trying to manage all that whilst it was all happening. So it just made being consistent with stuff very, very difficult. And the only thing I did find that tamed it very temporarily for an hour or two maybe was alcohol, which led to me using alcohol as a medicine for nearly 10 years, which also affected my productivity. And like some of my mates say, they're like, I'm amazed you actually put anything out during that 10 years. Because some of them have seen what I was actually going through.
Is that what it was?
Oh, I mean, ever since the depersonalization, I slowly crept towards being an alcoholic, essentially. Like a functional one for a while, and then for a while after, not so functional. But
well, I tell you what, that was a great question, and we could go on, but let's not, because
come back
thanks Rico for taking 10 minutes of our time. Anyway, but that great answer.
No worries.
I still don't feel it's fully answered. I feel
we
can elaborate more later.
This is what we're going to do. So again, not we've only had one podcast before this, but it's tradition now.
Yeah.
Let's do the icebreaker.
Okay.
And then what we do after that, we will go right to the beginning of where Elro came into our lives. Okay. And then we go from there. So I'm asking you a first icebreaker question. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get to know you, who you are, a little bit about, and then we'll deep dive into the alcohol. Okay. What was it called? Depersonalization. I've never heard of it, so we can talk about that, because I'm sure you ain't the only one that deals with it. So it's a whole other thing. So right, icebreaker questions first. Okay,
let's go.
If you could have lunch with any musician, dead or alive, who'd it be and why?
That's a good one. I think this answer would have changed depending on when you'd have asked me as well.
Yeah,
Because I'm producing and engineering now, someone like Dre, because
Dre,
I would
oh,
just
man.
love to pick his mind for...
Yeah.
He basically doesn't produce anything I don't like. And I'd just love to get an idea of his working methods and little stuff he does and just pry his brain. So maybe someone like Dre. But if you'd have asked me years ago, it might have been someone else, maybe a rapper. Or if you've asked me prior, it might have been a golfer. But I'd say if you ask me right now, which is what you're doing. So should we do that?
Yeah, we're in the moment.
We'll go Dre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Dre. Yeah, love it, man. I would, say,
Interesting.
love to see him.
Okay, my question is, if you could pick one song as the soundtrack to your life up to where we are right now, what song would you pick on?
Fucking hell. Am I allowed to swear on here? Or?
You just did.
I have, yeah. Are you going to have to bleep it? No. Okay, right. I don't think it would be a song with words. I think it would be some sort of classical thing which like has peaks and troughs and crescendos and something that... Some sort of Mozart where there's parts of beauty and then it becomes utter hell and chaos. It'd be something...
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
Like
it's a difficult question.
Yeah, I feel like my life has been lots of small cycles of either bliss or hell. So it'd be something with... Let's go for some Mozart. Something that captures all ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, we can go with Mozart. That's fine. Next question. Elro, you're on death row.
Yeah.
I don't know what you've done, but what's your very last meal?
Oh, God. I'm quite hungry now, so it's probably a good time to ask. That's so hard because I love food so much.
Man, I'm a foodie. Well, look at me.
I reckon sometimes just a perfectly cooked roast for me is hard to top. And like 7 pints of gravy with it. Because I don't drink anymore, so I'll just drink pints of gravy. Every bit of gravy. Yeah. If they've been cooking other meats, give me that gravy as well. Just
What if it's not
load
cooked
it.
to your standard though, and it's your last meal?
Right, that's different. That would ruin it.
There's a hit and miss.
That would ruin it.
There's a
You know what?
gravy, yeah.
Like,
I might have to cook it because I know I can cook a roast I like.
yeah.
But if not, maybe it would be between a curry or like something Mexican, like tacos or something. Just load up.
Loads of little plates. Tapas.
Yeah. Actually, tapas, because if it's going to be your last meal, you might as well get like a wide spectrum, haven't you? So tapas, yeah.
That's a good one. I want to know what the first album you ever bought was, and do you still listen to it?
I've got a feeling it might have been Eminem's Slim Shady. It might have been. Album-wise, I think that the first single I ever bought, you'd never guess this one. Do you remember the cartoons? Was it The Witch Doctor or something? I told the witch doctor I was in love with you. I was like 8, and that came out, and I remember going down to Woolworths at the time and buying that and then blasting it. It was at the time where we had those tape and CD players, but you could record. So we would make our own radio shows and then put the tunes in between. But yeah, I think the first album was Eminem's Slim Shady, I think.
Good album. Good answer.
Slim Shady.
Still album related, if you could listen to one album for the rest of your life, just one album for the rest of your life, what would it be? I don't even know myself.
That is so tough. Yeah. But like recently, album-wise, I've been listening. What's the one? I don't think it's his latest one. The one before Jay Huss's. Was it his first debut album? That I used to rinse and repeat that.
You'd know. I don't know.
I never know what you mean. I can't
Terrible
remember
with
what it's
like
called.
music.
The production's all like J5, TSB, and all that. At the moment, it's stuff like that. But do you know what? Since I've been producing, I don't listen to as much music. Probably because I'm making it or fixing it or tweaking it all day long. I don't feel like I listen to as much music. But
Does it annoy you? Like if you were listening to someone and you would have done it differently?
no, it's. I'll tell you what's really interesting is you do dissect music more when you start learning how to make it, but there's pros and cons. Mainly pros. Like I find now when I listen to some of my favourite tunes from when I was like 10, 13, whatever, it's like hearing them for the first time again because I'm listening to them from a totally different angle.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing the mix, I'm hearing what they've done with effects, all this stuff. So I'll hear stuff before and it's mad, and I'll be like, do you know what? I'm not actually that keen on the mix of this song. And this might be one of my favourite songs ever, but I would never have noticed that at the time.
Strange.
It's like I'll hear it and I go, I would have mixed that bit slightly different. Majority of it is spot on, obviously, but you get the occasional thing where you find an old tune that you used to listen to and you think, that's a bit ropey actually, but no one cares. Like, it's about the feel, and that's another thing I have to remember as an engineer is it's mainly about the feel of the song.
Yeah.
You can mix something perfect, but I saw Fred again the other day was saying one of his tunes, he over-mixed one of them, sent it to his brother, and his brother was like, it's good, but like, do you feel like a bit of the character of the original song's gone? So we're always in that.
Yeah.
Fight between the two. So
It's funny as a creative person, and you always want to try and strive for perfection, but sometimes it can be a hindrance because,
You have to get past that, otherwise you'll never finish anything. Because I know that there's a lot of people who work in music who are so good, but nothing ever leaves their computer because they're too perfectionist.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you sort of learn to make it good enough, and you have to let go of it then.
I always wonder, you won't see it on the camera, but there's a mural here. Yeah. You can see it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of splashes and dots and spray paint. And I just think, when did he do the last dot and go, that'll do?
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like he's done.
It's the same with music.
Yeah, like that's how do you end a song is what I would love to ask.
Process now.
So I've always got, like, I start almost every song I make remixing something else. Right. I find a vocal I like and I make a beat that fits that vocal. And then I consider the beat done once I feel like it's a song with the vocal. And then sometimes I actually take stuff away even further, because sometimes you can do stuff that suits that vocal but then makes it too hard for other people to write to. But my basic method now is fill in a beat around a vocal to the point where I feel like it's a full song. At that point, the beat's done. And that has helped me endlessly, because when I was just making beats with no real structure or anything, you feel like you could go on forever and you don't really know when it's done. Whereas if you make it around a vocal, it's almost, you're filling the other side of the template in. So you can literally almost feel when it's done.
I just fill in here just for people listening or viewing, because a lot of people, they'll be thinking, what's he talking about? This is Elro, the rapper.
Yeah.
But for those that don't know, you've sort of, that chapter's
I've transitioned
ended, and now you're
producing.
you're making...
Well, it hasn't fully ended.
Oh, but
It hasn't fully ended.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that later, or do you want to?
Yeah,
talk
we
about,
will.
We'll talk
but
about that
what
later.
you're doing right in this present moment is you go under another name.
Yeah, and I produce
and you
mix.
produce a mix.
Yeah.
So do you make beats?
Yeah.
You
So
make
I
beats,
make beats, and then I also mix other people's beats, mix people's vocals, produce whole songs, whatever is needed, really. But
so as a beat maker,
Yeah.
I always wonder: are you a fade out at the end of a song type person, or are you a harsh ender?
I like to make something a bit unique, so my whole process is to fuck about until something good happens, and then I keep that. So sometimes it'll be a reverb out at the end, sometimes it'll be some weird choppy delay. With a lot of the Neek stuff we were doing, I used to like chop up her vocals and just make choppy sections out of that and then have it fade out. But I don't really like to have too many rules, so it changes every song really, depending on how I feel at the time.
Yeah. Well, let's go all the way back. Let's start at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So before you were Elro, and you were just normal little Chepstowian.
Yeah.
You before this fame and whatever you want to call it. What were you doing?
Golf, lots of golf.
So you were doing and from what age did you start golf then?
About 10.
Oh, okay.
And then I played pretty seriously till I was 18. And I got one of those standard, like, coked up 6 a.m. kitchen stories where, I could have been this guy, but the injuries. But I did fuck up my back when I was like 17 snowboarding. Right. Didn't really get to play that year. That was the year I was
how good were you then? How good?
Well, I was county captain for the juniors of Gwent. And I was a reasonable standard. I got down to 2 when I was about 15. So I was a reasonable standard. I wouldn't say I was ever at the point where Well, when I was younger, I thought, I want to go on tour. But then you get a little bit older, and like these days, the guys are, if you're going on tour, they're off like +5.
To do something like that?
I was gonna, if I didn't mess up my back when I was 17, I probably would have. I was basically speaking to colleges in America to try and do a scholarship over there.
Wow.
That was the plan, but then I didn't really get to play any golf for almost an entire summer, which was the year I was county captain, annoyingly.
Yeah.
So I'd still go to the events, but I couldn't play in half of them because my back was fucked.
And that's where it ended?
It didn't end, but it fizzled,
Yeah.
and I'd always been in school trying to make people laugh and all that sort of stuff as well. So the stand-up comedy started happening when I was about 17 as well.
So I don't know if I knew this about you. You're a funny guy. It shows in the videos on YouTube.
you.
But I didn't know you did stand-up comedy. Because for me, it's got to be one of the hardest...
Mate,
it's the hardest
for
job
me
in the
now,
world.
I don't know
Yeah.
who the guy was that did that.
Yeah, okay.
You could not pay me any figure to do that anymore.
Were you good?
I was all right. I was
Yeah.
good for the amount of time. Like, I got to the final of a couple of competitions. I got I went and did. There was a competition that used to be on Channel 4. So You Think You're Funny. I got to the final of that, so we went up to the Edinburgh Comedy Festival, performed in like a big thing. I came runner-up in Paramount Comedy's Funniest Student, which was at the Comedy Store. So like I was good for how long I've been doing it.
Yeah.
But looking back, I was just doing my own impression of Brent in a way. Do you know what I mean? I watched
okay.
The Office so much that
Yeah,
my
yeah,
entire humour was based on that sort of stuff. But I was all right. There's some stuff I look back on and think, I was actually quite good. And there's other bits I think, But there's a mixed bag.
So up until about 17 or 18, golf
Yeah.
is the thing.
Golf's the thing.
And did you ever think that was going to be the thing?
Yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
the whole time until I was about 16-ish, when at that age you start seeing certain people who are off like +3, +4, which means 3 or 4 below par.
Yeah.
And that's really
Yeah.
good. And I hadn't got to that level.
Okay.
I'd got to 2
Yeah.
when I was like 15, but at that stage you start thinking, I don't know. But there was always the option to go into teaching.
Yeah.
But I could still do teaching pro
Yeah.
now, to be fair.
But there's just going from that to being a stand-up comedian
Yeah.
wouldn't even be on people's radar. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's weird. I mean, that's the thing. I guess we've all got like infinite sides to our personality.
Yeah.
Don't we? I like stuff that's fiddly, and golf's perfect because you never perfect it.
Yeah.
Same with music, you never perfect it. Comedy, you never. I think I
okay.
like things that are difficult. But like I say, you would not catch me doing stand-up now.
But then getting to the final of some of those competitions, you must have thought, "Oh, this could be."
Yeah.
It,
I think if I'd have continued at it, I would probably have ironed my material to a point where I probably could have done that. But I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe all the people that saw me thought this guy's fucking shit. But I don't know.
Well,
I feel like I got reasonably good at it.
Yeah.
Reasonably quick.
We were talking about Rico before. I think we pushed the record buttons.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Man, this guy goes all in."
Yeah.
When he does something, he does
He's
it.
invested into it and he does it proper. Yeah.
But within 20 minutes, we've got you almost a professional golfer, and you're almost successful
Yeah,
stand-up
either that or I'm
comedian.
a good blagger, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I whatever I've got going on in my head, I don't know what it is. I've never really pushed for any diagnosis. I think I've got something going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not. I
Self-diagnosed.
don't meet many people who are similar, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it seems to be I'll hyper focus on stuff.
So
It ticks boxes like ADHD and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. But I'll go all in on something for a period of time. But now I've got to the point where I'm all in on like 3 things. Like I'm back in love with golf again now.
Okay.
I've joined my golf club. I quit for 10 years.
Yeah.
But then in lockdown I got back into it.
Okay.
So now, since I stopped drinking, I basically replaced my drinking with golf. Mm-hmm. And so I'm all in on golf and music. That's my main 2 now, to
So
be fair.
you just got this addictive.
Yeah, I think so.
Personality,
I think
yeah.
if I do something, and darts. Sorry, I've got to put darts in.
Oh, yeah,
I've started
I
playing
do-
pub darts.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I play league.
I'm no
every
good,
week.
but I do love.
Oh, we'll have to have a game. I play every Wednesday now.
Do you?
Pub darts, yeah. It's
Yeah.
good.
I work without the drinking.
That's a
They
good
kind of go
question.
hand in hand.
Everyone else there pretty much is drinking and experimenting with various other substances, should we say.
So you don't drink at all now?
I don't.
Dart enhancing
No,
substances.
I don't. Yeah. So I have to deal with the nerves. But that's a cool thing because, like at golf, a lot of my mates play and they drink a fair bit. to deal with the nerves, but I've sort of had to bareback it and just deal with it. But it's funny, you do learn methods. Like I think I got the first time I played pub darts, I was so nervous, my arm felt like I had dynamite.
Yeah, you've got a bit of a crowd. It's not
yeah,
like
no,
playing
exactly.
in the room.
It's not what you expect. It's
Yeah.
like, fuck. But then I was able to kind of tap into the fact that I've conquered that at golf before.
Yeah.
With playing in front of crowds and whatever. And so you just learn ways of dealing with stuff, don't you?
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And then what was the period then between the stand-up comedy? So how long were you doing that for, actually?
About 2 years. So I went to uni in London.
Yeah.
Brunel, West London, and I basically went there because I wanted to do stand-up comedy.
I see.
But when I went there,
What were you studying?
communications and media. Well,
Oh, okay.
actually, I went briefly to do international business, didn't like it, so
Yeah.
changed course to communications and media. But I was blagging it. Like, I just wanted to be in London.
Yeah,
I just
that's
do
what I was going
whatever
to say.
be
So
in
you,
London.
it wasn't the case that
I was not asked
you
about
just
it,
wanted to
of course.
be in London.
Yeah,
to hope
no,
something could happen.
It was. I just knew if I was in London,
Yeah.
that with all the things I wanted to do, and it was at this time when I was like 18 going to uni, that's when I was starting rapping as well. I did parodies when I was in school, so I'd do like joke songs, like, because it's a lot easier, isn't it? If you present something to someone as a joke,
Yeah.
you haven't got to deal with the harsh criticism. Like, oh, that's only a joke. So I sort of fell into it doing parodies, and then.
So you're doing uni stuff.
Did you graduate? Did you finish uni, or was it?
No. So the music started, the SB stuff sort of started kicking off while I was in there, and I wasn't particularly interested in what I was doing anyway. So I dropped out and just did the music thing.
So when you've done the SBTV as a comedian, is that what that is? Like,
Yeah,
How,
I mean-
how serious did you take the music thing when
I
you
took
did
it
that?
serious, but like I've known that my strengths are making people laugh and wordplay and stuff, just
Yeah.
doing weird shit that people wouldn't think of maybe. So
Which you did.
I was doing it seriously,
Yeah.
but obviously it's all tongue in cheek, and
Yeah.
it's mad because I say some outlandish stuff and people they'll ask me if that's true. I'm like, no, I didn't have head on a plane and then it was
Yeah.
blown up with it. Like,
I
people
didn't see
genuinely ask me
goats
if
on
that's
the
true.
tandem. Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? I'm like, some of it was for entertainment
Of course,
purposes.
yeah,
like, when I'm doing a deep song, that's all like real stuff. But yeah, I'll just chat any pond if it's funny. Do you know what I mean?
So you've done SBTV.
Yeah.
I don't know
Were
how
you
many.
still doing stand-up when SB dropped the first one? Or had it
I
finished
don't
at that
think
point?
so. I think I was, or if I have, it was right at the end. But I think that by that point, by the time I got the SB, I kind of thought, right, well, if I've got an SB, because I'd watched Ed Sheeran blow up on SB. I was sending him to all my mates. I was like, watch, this guy is going to be massive. And so I watched that happen. So in my head, I was like, right, if I can get myself on SB.
So how do you approach them?
Yeah. So I used to just email them my stuff, I think. And one day I woke up, because I had my own YouTube channel where I would just put freestyles that I did in my uni room.
Were you getting views on them? Good views?
Nah, not good views, but a few, not like nothing.
Because you were so out there for SBTV.
Yeah, but that's...
They took a bit of a gamble on you, or I don't know
I guess-
why you.
I guess so, but I mean, I felt like I was good enough. I mean, I understand it's quirky and probably some people think it's novelty or whatever, but I felt like I was good enough at what I was doing that there was
Yeah.
no one else offering an alternative.
Yeah.
And so it would either completely flop and
It was
no one
gonna
would
get
it,
views
or it was gonna
regardless,
get-
yeah.
I felt like it would either get views and get slated, or
Yeah.
it would get views and people would get it.
It's a
And-
uniqueness, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
that's
unlike
what I mean.
anything else.
I haven't really seen much other. Quite often, especially at the time, maybe there's a bit more variety now, but at the time, like, all rappers talked about was bigging themselves up, whereas I was more.
That's, I think, the
Put
big
myself
thing
down.
about
Yeah.
when I started listening to Eminem at first.
Yeah.
The stuff he was saying was totally different to everyone else.
Exactly, yeah.
And it was almost that, can he say that kind of thing?
Yeah. And when I listen to an artist now, like, to me, if I hear something I haven't heard before, that's a big reason I'll listen to it, because it's just
I think so.
a
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
refreshing, isn't it? Like, so.
But on the back of that, then was there? I don't know. I don't want to say hate, but was there those comments?
Yeah, no, of course there is.
Yeah.
There always is. But I was. I
But do you
felt-
take interest in them?
I felt like I was thick-skinned at the time, but I don't know whether I truly was, because like
I don't know, like you can block stuff out, but if you read the same sort of pond over and over again,
Yeah.
the worst shit
Comes
is you'll
real,
read,
yeah.
you'll read like. I remember when I got signed and I put a tune out, and a few people were saying like, "Ah, blah blah," he sold out to the label and all this, and it was like, this is my tune. I chose this tune.
Yeah.
And then the label signed it. I didn't get signed, and then the label went, "Do this."
Yeah.
It was the other way around.
Sing this for us.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
at the time what
Yeah.
I wanted to do. Looking back, I don't like it, but at that moment in time, it was all me.
What song was that?
Real World. And so sometimes you'll read stuff about your own motives and why you're doing stuff, and you just think, what the fuck are these people on about?
Yeah.
But like, I guess that's part of the game with putting yourself out there. The thing is, for every one comment like that, there's 50 half decent ones. So
Of course.
you try and remind yourself that. But I don't even really read comments anymore these days because I just...
It was.
I'm a
What
sensitive
benefit does
soul.
it bring to you? You know, it doesn't.
I don't find, like, even if there's 20 positive and then one negative, your brain obsesses over that one negative.
That one, I know.
And the 20 positive can be the most profound, lovely things
Yeah.
ever. And then one guy calls you a fucking two-chinned cunt.
Yeah.
Maybe not that, because that... But if it was...
I'm probably going to get the. This is not a good angle for me, by the way. So I'm expecting
um,
those comments under this YouTube video.
Yeah, you kind of obsess over that. Well, my brain does anyway. So I try and avoid it, but...
So
That's
when
the big
you
reason I stepped away from it. Just, I
you
don't like
filmed
being
the
the face of it.
SBTV. What's the wait time then before that goes live?
Even before that, though, you said you emailed them your stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How did you get?
Oh yeah.
So he ended up. I just woke up one morning and one of my videos had like 5,000 more views on it, and
Right.
then I was tagged in SB on their Facebook page, and they posted it and all. And then I had an email saying we'd love you to come on and
And that was Jamal.
yeah.
Yeah,
to
lovely.
do,
Was that when they kind of tested the water? They shared one of yours to see
I guess
people's
so.
reaction.
Oh,
I guess
yeah,
so,
maybe, yeah.
But I mean, I had the email at the same time, so they must have. I guess they probably had decided already. But then it was like, it was a few months because it got to the point where I was waiting, and I kept asking Jamal, and it was like, just coming to because Jamal was a busy guy,
Of course.
So he kept being like, yeah, next week. I think it took a few months, maybe.
So what's going through your head then? You've had the email. You've seen other artists on this platform just go.
I just felt, it just felt like, it sounds arrogant, but like in my head, I felt like I had a plan, and that this was all part of the plan. And
Yeah.
the plan was to get the SB
Yeah.
and then go from there and see what happened after that. I just felt like I needed the opportunity, but it's the first time, obviously, I've ever rapped to anyone other than myself as well.
Really?
Which you could probably see in the footage, like I'm a bit
I
awkward.
don't know. Yeah. But I think
You know what
that's.
I mean?
I
But
think
that's part of
that's your whole.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's part of
yeah.
my thing.
I did wonder if it wasn't, a character.
No.
No,
I'm
but I
just
know
an
now
awkward-
it wasn't that.
I'm an
Yeah.
awkward cunt.
But I think a lot of people
Always
might have
just-
thought it might have been that. Do you know what I mean?
I think they did, but no. Unfortunately, I'm just blessed with whatever that is.
Yeah. Great.
I think that all adds to it, though, doesn't it? It all works.
A lot of people have said that to me because
Like the whole car park
it makes
thing.
it more approachable in a way, doesn't it? Just some helpless, awkward-looking twat in a scarf.
Well, yeah, it did work.
It worked. So,
Yeah. So then after that, so I mean, what's happened then? So what time did they release the
I think
video?
it
And
went out in January, if I remember right.
then you sat there just refreshing and scrolling. Are you waiting for something to happen?
Yeah, at the start, you are watching the video.
Yeah.
You're watching it because you're anticipating it. But
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to go as quick as it did. In my head, I was like, this will do well. This will do well. Sounds arrogant, but
Yeah.
I'd put all my best bars into one thing, and I felt like it had a shareability value, and so.
Well, it went absolutely viral.
Yeah,
Viral.
It went mad
Yeah.
really quick. And,
Were your details like in the description or whatever? Could people like follow you from the video?
I don't know if my exact thing, but yeah, my Twitter was
did
blowing
people
up
find you
quick.
from it?
Yeah, like everything was blowing up quick. And I remember actually I was sat in one of the car parks back in the day with a few of my mates, and Jamal ringing me, and he's like, "Bro, this is like the day it's dropped." He's like, "You're famous in London." And I was like, "What?" He's like,
Yeah.
He's like, "I've just been in label meetings. All anyone's talking about is you." And I was like,
Wow.
"Fucking hell!" And at that point, it actually started getting a bit like the amazing excitement turned into genuine nerves and fuck, this is actually happening now.
Yeah.
Like in my head, it was happening. It was going to happen.
Yeah.
But then when it actually happens,
When it
to you,
became reality.
you're like, okay, right, and then you have to start planning and all that shit, which is probably not the right way to do it. Do you know what I mean? You should have done all that prior. But it all happened really quick, and then I think when the first people like of note to contact me was then like Mike Skinner, and then Getz a few days later. Jamal rang me again. He's like, "Go on Twitter." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Go on Getz's Twitter." And Getz had tweeted, "Yo, that Elro brother is sick," you know. And I was like,
man.
Like I've grown up. My favourite MC from the UK was Getz. Like all I listened to, like how unique with flows he is and that. And so when he said that, it like for a little moment, any imposter syndrome went.
So was there ever?
Like, if he rates me, then
yeah.
I'm
Was there ever like a I've made it moment? You know, like. Did you?
Nah, not really.
No?
I mean, it all just happens so quick. It's a bit of a whirlwind.
It just feels like a blur now.
Yeah, it does a bit, and the fact I was drinking heavily as well. So like, it literally is a blur.
So were you drinking heavily because of?
Nah.
Of what happened, or?
Nah. The thing is, like, everyone I know drank heavily.
I see.
Like everyone who I grew up with, some of them still do drink heavily, and they all got away with it. So I wasn't, and bear in mind, I'm still in uni as well.
Okay.
Sort of. So everyone drinks all the time. You're surrounded by it. At that point,
student life, I guess.
Point,
yeah.
Being a student that drinks 4 times a week is pretty much what a lot of people are doing.
Normal.
But it was only that it carried on and on and on after that. And then when the depersonalization thing happened, it was the fact that I was so horrifically anxious and detached the whole time. I would do anything. Like, if you experience it, it's so spine-chillingly haunting that you will do whatever to get 20 seconds break from it.
Really?
Like, it's worse than words. That's one of the weird things about it. It's so hard to articulate because it's based on concepts which words don't do justice. So no matter how much I try and explain it to you, it's being flattened down.
So it isn't something that comes and it doesn't come and go, does it?
It does eventually, but like I still have it to an extent to this day. But I now
is it a diagnosis? Is it something?
You do, but it's not something they can do much about.
You just okay.
Other than you need to generally get rid of as much anxiety from your life as you can.
I see.
And so even though booze was helping for a very brief period, it would then prolong the recovery period. So I was trapped in that for years.
But was it this rocket into this viral sensation that was making you anxious?
It possibly
and making you drink more.
But it was it all happened one night when I took some pills, essentially. And it happened in a moment. Took some pills, started feeling weird. It's like, oh, I'll smoke a spliff, that'll help. I didn't help, believe it or not. That sent me.
No, I believe it.
And I just remember I was in the minibus on the way back from because I went to see Toddler T. So I don't know if you know him. DJ. I'd just done a tune with him, so he invited me down to this show he had in Motion with Annie Mac. So they were there, and then took a load of pills, as you do, and you don't do that, kids. And yeah, I remember being in the minibus on the way back and looking at the road signs, and suddenly the road signs didn't look anything like they ever have before. They still look the same, but suddenly I was aware of like how mental language is and how at no point in my life prior
and this
to
was
that
off pills.
had I dissected it.
It's like just a mushroom.
But it was so that's the thing.
Yeah.
But it was so intense. I knew in that moment. I knew instantly my life would never be the same. I knew. Right. I knew that I couldn't unthink. The way that I was thinking about stuff is not something you can get rid of. It's a complete change of mindset.
But then it stayed with you.
And it stays with you, but you learn to manage it.
Yeah, right.
And now, because I don't have huge amounts of life anxiety, it's almost like a blessing now. Like everything still seems mental to me, but I'm at peace with it. Now it amazes me.
Yeah.
But when it first happened, it was so new and so scary that it just terrifies you because it's overwhelming because it's just okay. I've been this guy for 21 years, and then now you've been brain's been dropped into this new simulation thing.
Yeah.
And it's
while everything else is happening at the same time.
Everything else is happening. You got you need.
But
to
was that a part of it though? I wonder. I'm trying to be a doctor here. Do you know what I mean? But is that a part of it?
It could easily be.
Yeah. Who knows?
Be just too much happening at once.
Yeah.
I don't know, or whether I was suppressing some. I don't. I honestly.
Well, if you knew, you'd be a billionaire. Expect.
Yeah.
Look, you've just mentioned some amazing names: Mike Skinner, Getz, Jamal, Toddler T, Annie Mac. We're going to come back to them. Should we do this quiz? I want to do this quiz.
Should we have a quiz out of the way?
I want to do the quiz.
Okay, sure.
Should we do the quiz?
Let's do the quiz.
You got your whiteboards?
To your right,
Whiteboards at the
It's a
ready.
whiteboard.
Oh, okay.
To my right is a whiteboard. So last week's quiz was Liam versus Rico. I was the quiz master.
Okay.
Liam is quiz master this week.
Sweet.
So it's Elro versus Mark.
Okay.
I'm not confident. I'm quite nervous actually. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yeah,
This
ready.
will start my depersonalisation again.
Yeah, I might get some. I don't know.
It might bring back some memories.
Oh man. All right, go on.
Okay, so question 1. Elro, that's you, once said, if you give me the green light, we can go red light on his track Amsterdam. One of Amsterdam's most famous attractions is the House of Anne Frank. To the nearest 10, how many languages is your diary available in?
I told you. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I told
It's an
you.
Elro-related question, though, technically.
What? How did we get to Anne Frank from Elro?
Yeah. How many languages is her diary available in?
Man, how many are there? It's
That
gonna
was
be. It's gonna be
my
every
starting
language.
point. Like, it's gonna be.
Man, I'm gonna go for something stupid.
The fact it's nearest 10 and not nearest 1.
Yeah, that gives you an.
Yeah,
inkling,
exactly. Yeah, it could be nearest 100 though, probably. Could it?
No comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
Man,
How many questions there? So I'm gonna-
7.
Cool. I'm gonna try and use my space widely. All right. I'm gonna go for.
I don't even know if there's as many languages, but I've gone big.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Have you done yours?
Yeah, but I. Yeah. Go on. I'll stick with that.
All right, go on. I'll show you answers. I got 300
Mark's
languages.
gone for 300.
151.
Elro's gone 151. It's actually only 75.
Ah.
That's yours then.
So 1
I
0
was
to
thinking
Elro.
to go higher as well.
Man,
Well, I was thinking there's got to be hundreds of languages.
every language.
I was going to do a bonus point if you can name every language, but I mean, we got time.
Could you imagine?
So moving on to question 2.
Yeah.
On iPhone 5, Elro said, only paintings pull off a snapback. You're a 4 out of 10, love. Fall back. But aside from that, when did Apple release the iPhone 5?
iPhone 5.
Yeah. That's the name of the song.
I don't even know when I released iPhone 5, so
Was it the year he released iPhone 5?
I don't think so.
I'm going. All right, I've got.
No, it wasn't. Well, maybe. Maybe not.
I'm gonna go for.
I've actually got the day, the month, and the year, so however in depth you want to go.
All right.
Okay, I could be miles off here.
I've gone September 2005.
Okay.
I went 2014.
So it's actually September the 21st, 2012. So I would say Elro is closer.
Oh, I
than
meant
you.
to say 2015. Well, I would have lost anyway.
Yeah. Let's say 2 now.
I was thinking, did they release iPhones in
do you know how I was
2010?
working it up. I was trying to work out when I did iPhone 5, and I was thinking it was a few years before that the iPhone 5 was the thing. So I wasn't too far off then. Yeah.
That's a ridiculous answer from me, 2005. It meant to be 2015. But I still would have
You had
lost.
me worrying when you said that, because I thought I might. Oh, shit.
Yeah. All right, question. Right,
Question 3.
Oh, man, I'm losing.
2-0 to Elro.
Yeah, I know, I'm counting.
On his track White Rick Ross, Elro said, swagger like a white Rick Ross. I'm a big boss. Birds I want to bang don't text back. Big loss. But
did
according
say that,
to
yeah.
Google, how many Wingstop locations does Rick Ross own?
God.
Worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
It's not many. It's not many. It's not many.
He's trying to get that info.
It might
I
not
like
be.
your style.
How many?
I mean, it's a lot compared to how many I own.
Yeah. It's not a lot, man.
Okay.
I've got 50.
Gone 103.
It's actually 25. So you pulled one back.
I've gone back. Fair play.
2-1.
I knew it. I knew
Question
it was
4.
many. Yeah.
On his SBTV warm-up session, Elro said, I'm like chlamydia butter because I'm easily spread. I'm like a kid called Ed because my eyes are red. Assuming this is about Ed Sheeran, what famous TV series logo does he have tattooed on his arm?
Oh, what? Ed Sheeran.
He's got a logo
series.
of a TV
Famous
series.
TV series.
I'm trying to think what he's into.
Man, you'd know more than me.
should know.
If I could be something geeky though. Man, I'm gonna go for something like this. I've abbreviated it. What is?
No.
Well, I'll tell you now. Wait, what have you gone for?
Probably the same as you.
I've gone for Only Fools and Horses.
Okay. No, both wrong. It was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Ah.
Didn't know that.
Didn't know
Who's,
that.
who's closest?
I was thinking what he's into. I was like, he's always
Yeah.
Lego.
I thought it might be
No,
something British.
Not a TV series.
Something
We'll
old
keep it
school.
at 2-1. We'll say nobody gets a point for that one.
All right, okay.
Question 5, only 3 more to go. On his track Scrabble, JME said, I'm the opposite of Elro. Call me Ole. Kazakues, Caziquius, is the highest recorded word in Scrabble history. To the nearest 10, how many points did this earn?
I don't know. I don't know how Scrabble works.
Yeah, nor do I. I've done a track about it, but I should know. They've got some.
To the nearest 10. Yeah, I don't know how it works though. Do you add them up, CA, whatever their value is?
I guess like Z's and Q's are more. There's no answers on this page, so you can't see.
I wasn't looking.
How? What's the word again?
Kazakues, Caziquius.
Man, Z and Q's, they're going to be the big numbers.
Yeah.
And a U?
And a
guess
U,
would probably be quite high.
Kazakues. So say they're that much each. Can't imagine C being much. Gonna go.
So apparently this is the highest scoring word in Scrabble history.
Okay.
It sounds big.
Basically, if you pull off this word, you're a boy.
I don't. Yeah.
Man.
I'm just going random.
I've gone for 90.
91.
Elro takes it. It's actually 342.
How? I don't get that. How?
My little plan worked.
Yeah.
One-
Yeah. Oh man, can I win now? I don't know if I can. You got
Yeah, you can still win.
3-1.
Draw, I think.
The last one might be with 10 points. I don't
Okay,
know.
go on then.
Also, speaking of Scrabble, Elro released a video on Noisy, and we all know that SPTV was the home of Elro's warm-up session. Which channel today has the most subs? Bonus points for numbers.
What between what Noisy
Noisy
and
and
SBTV? Oh, I don't know much about Noisy.
I've got a feeling they've just done big stuff with big artists for years, so it wouldn't surprise me if they've got.
And they like connected to Vice as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Just throwing it out.
Why am I telling you the answer? What am I doing? I need to think.
Connected to Voice is good.
Does anyone know how many SP are on?
I don't know. Millions, expect millions.
Is it like
But I feel like they would have slowed down now.
Yeah,
Whereas Noisy might have just Noisy might have
between
catapulted a
million and
little bit.
2 or
Oh, I'm gonna.
Maybe.
So the question was just which
Which
one?
channel has the most? But if you can tell me the amounts, or
You can get bonus points.
yeah, we can do that.
No, I've just made up numbers.
Is that your answer for the one you think is the biggest?
Yeah. And
Show the
that's
camera.
my sub count.
I've got a Noisy 3 mil, SBTV 1.3.
That is actually very good. Noisy are on 3.51 mil.
Come on.
SVTV are 1.27. Oh, knows his stuff.
Well, he's been on both channels though. Like I wasn't on any of them.
Okay, last question. This is worth 100 points.
Okay, winner takes like
Well,
last goal scores wins.
At 8:51 a.m. this morning, Elro's warm-up session was on 3.2 million views. According to Google, is this number higher or lower than the population of Wales?
3.2. I'm gonna.
Okay.
I think I know. I think I know what Wales is.
I thought I did. and
Oh
now
shit!
that-
No,
that
yeah,
I'm
no.
thinking
Now do I?
about it-
Yeah.
Do you both want to guess what you think Wales is as well?
What?
Just
Alright, guess.
No. Oh, okay. Guess what it is? Oh man, I thought I knew.
Oh no! Wait, is that the whole? Yeah, no wait. I'm gonna go.
3.2 million views. I'm gonna go.
Lower.
No. I've gone as higher because Wales only has 3.1 million people.
I thought Wales got maybe 7 million.
Nah.
So according to Google, Wales actually has, this actually pains me to say it, 3.136 million.
Oh, fair play.
But it was Alva's quiz, so you lose.
Fair.
Good game.
Oh yeah, that was.
Done. I thought you wasn't too bad.
It was ridiculous.
No.
The first question was on about Elro, then we went to Anne Frank,
Exactly.
and how many languages her Bible was
Name
in or
another
whatever.
artist you could do that with.
Guess I don't even
It's
know
only
what.
Elro.
But I know it was good. It was good.
That was clever.
I feel we all learnt something today.
I have.
I don't know.
I'll forget it by tomorrow, but
Yeah.
for this brief moment in
But you
time.
can watch it back.
That's true.
The glory of
Take
YouTube.
notes.
Where were we? Mike Skinner.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
So, yeah, he was one of the first people to reach out after the SB dropped, and he wanted to relaunch his label the beats, and so we started. Well, it was a weird one actually because I was already in talks with 679 / Warner Brothers at the time, so we sort of came to an agreement with them that I would sign to him as almost like just a publicity thing, just to build some hype, and then I'd drop my stuff on Warner 679, so that way he could relaunch the beats, and then I could do my thing. So yeah, he came down to Wales, and we worked on a few bits and bobs, and I actually worked with him a few years later as well, like helping write in some. It was like a BBC musical. I don't think it ever got aired in the end, but it was like a BBC musical, but with rap. So it was like some. Imagine like Hollyoaks, but with random rap bits.
Yeah.
It was something like that. So I did do a bit of work later with him as well.
So what, after the SBTV, how fast is all this happening?
Pretty fast.
Like, did you sleep that night?
I think I did.
And you've woken up to what, like a million views or something like that?
Not that many.
No?
It was. I think it was in today's terms it wouldn't be that much, but at the time it was the trending video on the front page of YouTube.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
not just music. Like
everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
My weird little face.
Yeah.
So I think it did like maybe 40 or 50k. Or something.
But back then,
30K.
huge.
Well, I think it was like 100k in the first 5 days.
Yeah.
But back then, it was big because you didn't have anything else like TikTok or blah blah blah.
And then how long after that then are people like Mike Skinner? This
It was like I'm sure it was Mike Skinner and Getz probably within a week. I think, which is it's mad. It's a lot to.
And what about the label? So what he did approach you with a label.
So
Mike Skinner.
well, funnily enough, a lady called Chantal Fiddy, who's she helps with lots of new artists in London, and she basically put me in contact with 679 because 679 were the people who did like Plan B, The Streets, Kano, so it was that sort of roster.
Good crowd to be in.
To be in, yeah. And she put me in contact with them, and they sorted me a manager. And then basically they said, yeah, we can offer you this deal to do your first one, and then we'll just go from there essentially. But obviously I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like, do you know what I mean? So they music-wise,
they've essentially signed you. Had they asked to listen to anything else?
No, they had. So I remember I had 3 songs. Real World, which was produced by Jay Weathers. I had the one, I think it was called Pointless with Toddler T and something else. And so they invited me up to show them, and I showed them, and they obviously liked them. And then, decided that we'd go with Real World for the first single. And then I did... and
this is with who? 679 or Warner Brothers?
So 679
Both.
is a sub-label of
Okay.
Warner Brothers. So,
Was that Real Word just you? Because that was the one that gets remix, wasn't it?
yeah, so Getz did the remix to that.
The first
Real
one that
World
came
was
out
just me, and then Show and Prove, who's a sick producer actually, he remixed it, and we had Michael Payne and Getz on the remix. So yeah, it all happened pretty.
So who got you the manager? Did you source them outside of that, or they gave you a manager?
It was through 679, the label.
Right, I
And
see.
So obviously I was just like not starstruck, but just a bit like
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it was all happening. So I assumed, well, this is great. This has got to be great. I've got to.
And when you
Looking back, no disrespect to her, I don't think she was the right manager for me.
I see.
She was some trendy London bird who was into
Yeah.
dance music and all. I don't
Yeah.
think she really had any knowledge of any things we were doing, but because she was in. Sorry if you're watching this. Because she was involved in the London music scene, it just was what it was. But I think I could have done with someone who had managed another rap artist, or even better, a sort of slightly. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm alternative, but I guess I am alternative.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, in that scene, yeah.
In that in that scene, I'm alternative. Yeah. So maybe I could have done with someone who was a bit of a better match. Do you know what I mean? But it all happened so fast. I was just kind of, again, like I said, I just ride waves. I just you'll give me a manager sound. let's do that. I felt like it was my foot in the door sort of thing.
And when they've sat you down, what's the deal? I mean, what gets talked about in these rooms? Like, is there like a sign-on fee? Is there? Did they give you public appearance fees?
So you get an advance, and then you get some sort of shitty deal with, especially back then. Like, they used to milk artists because back then you you wouldn't hear an independent song in the charts. No. Everyone was on one label or another.
You had to be on a label.
It was like,
people have a power now.
So if I'm the way I always looked at it, right, and maybe I took this a little bit too far, but I always saw it as, this will either work and I'll never have to worry about these splits or percentages that I've got to pay back, or it'll go tits up and then I've never got to pay them back anyway.
So you've got to pay that back?
No, you don't.
No.
Sorry, you don't. You only pay stuff back if you make it, if you do well.
Oh, really?
But the label actually folded before I was able to put out any further
okay,
content
so
anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I had happened to have signed my deal, so I got my advance.
Yeah.
I never got to do... Real World was only like the sort of soft launch single. There was meant to be a proper single, and I had all the paperwork for an album deal as well ready there.
Yeah.
Looking back, I mean, the percentages were shit. Like, but again, when you're like 20 and someone puts X amount of money in front of you, you're just kind of like, well, I've never seen this sort of money before in my life, so...
Yeah, I always wondered, like, you know,
but
are they just looking at you like Elro from Chepstow, Wales, the money ain't big there anyway, so we'll just give him this? Or
very, very slight. Everything you do is... And you'll have this from any artist that knows about the deal they've got into. Like, so, for example, I'd had studio one day in London, 2 days in London. It was like 2 hours of time. That costs 300 quid because they got this particular thing. Now, if I make money out of my singles, I have to pay all this back. They're sending me to all these places.
The big expensive places. Yeah.
Which I do not need to be. For example, with the Real World thing, we did the tune in Jay Weather's bedroom, the producer. He's produced huge tunes now, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, we did it in his room, just with his mic, and we ended up using that mix and getting it mastered because no matter what studio we went to,
it didn't matter.
It didn't sound any better. The character was in the... And so there's just extensions of that happening the whole time. Like, they'll buy you this, they'll buy you that, and present it as if they're buying it for you. But they're not. This is all just going on your bill.
Yeah.
That if you make $1 million from album sales, you'll pay back. But the way I looked at it was, I'll either make enough that I won't care about paying for these 200-300 quid.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I'm just going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I basically lived like a rock star for a few years, just because you can charge anything to it. Like, you can, wherever I'd go in London, you just get it's like an Addison Lee. You just get a card, charge it to the label, and that was more my doing, obviously.
Yeah.
I'll hold my hands up for that.
Yeah.
But just with the...
Are you the reason the label folded? Because
yeah.
Did they all just add up?
But nah.
So how did you have it? I mean, had they put you up in London?
Yeah, so I was in London like maybe 3 nights a week in hotels and shit.
And that's all they pay for that.
They
pay
for it on the method.
Yeah.
You pay for it.
Yeah.
You potentially.
And you just getting room service and.
No, I wasn't.
Nothing. You weren't going crazy for it. Yeah.
Crazy, but like, I would have an.
But what about when you go out in that?
One side of London to the other, for example, which you wouldn't do on your own.
No, of course not. No.
But when I was going out in London, like, it sounds tragic but obviously because my name was popping a bit. There's just clubs just offering.
You weren't even paying.
Nah, some place will say, if you want to come here tonight, we'll give you this.
Lovely.
And then you have industry parties, and that's part of the problem with it, with the music industry, is it's very easy to. I mean, I hold my hands up, I fucked it up, but it's very easy to fall into a drink or drugs. I mean, look at artists. I mean, there's so many. It's so rare that you see an artist who's got no life issues whatsoever. That is because you get abnormal situations thrown at you over and over again, and quite often you'll succumb to it. And it's like it can all unravel very quickly, you know.
Was there ever a moment where? I mean, can you give us an example of like something crazy? I don't know, a situation that you'd never thought you'd be in and will never be in again.
Well, we went to the Brits after party.
So had you been at the Brits?
No. So
but you were at the after party?
I was actually filming... God, this sounds name-droppy as fuck, but it is true.
That's why we're here, man.
I was filming my video with Mike Skinner in Chepstow while the Brits was going on.
Yeah.
So we then got there later to the Warner Brothers Brits after party, and so every name you could imagine, like Bruno Mars, Adele, Ed Sheeran. Who, when he walked in, my cousin who came with us just pinched his ass, which I'll always remember.
Amazing.
Just pinched Ed Sheeran's
Yeah,
ass
I
for
would
no
have the
reason
same.
other than he wanted to.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably get done.
Oh,
for that
he
these
wanted
days.
to.
Yeah. He wanted to. Yeah.
Amazing.
How did Ed
yeah.
react?
He just laughed. I think he saw that he was with me. Luckily, I was like.
So, no, carry on. Go on.
But yeah, that was a pretty crazy party. So that was in like some weird, some huge, posh house place in London, and every floor was like a different theme, but everything is free. Like you go in there, absolutely everything. So,
All on Warner Brothers.
yeah,
Amazing.
whatever you want. And
Yeah.
so like it's not just there's glasses of champagne everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the next floor was like a cocktail floor, and then the next floor was a vodka floor, the next floor was like a whiskey floor, and you can not only get a glass of champagne, you can say, can I just have a bottle of that one actually?
Oh, wow.
And they'll give you full bottles. So I remember walking out at the end, I had like 4 bottles of Dom
Yeah.
Perignon, whatever, Grey Goose, vodkas and all this, and I looked at the bouncers and I was like, is this going to get me in trouble? And
Yeah,
he
it
was like,
didn't feel right.
He was like, I haven't seen nothing, mate. I was like, lovely.
Yeah, that's
we
it.
got
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
cab
yeah.
then. I remember, I think I was so pissed, I ended up leaving like 3 bottles of Dom Perignon, which is probably the only time I've ever had Dom Perignon in
Yeah.
my life. I just ended up leaving it in the back of the taxi because I was so pissed.
But isn't it crazy? There's some people that's so normal.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's their life. Like
Oh, yeah.
most nights they're just out partying,
It's
whatever they want.
It's a weird scene.
Yeah.
It is. It's strange. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. Like, I
So where's
just
your
think
head
it's
at when you're in those situations? Are you?
Well, while I was drinking, I was comfortable with it. I
Yeah.
was fine. But
Yeah.
now you couldn't. I wouldn't go there if you offered me money to go to those.
Really?
places. I just got no interest in.
Is that
wandering
age?
around.
Is it? Is it because you've
It's
been
a-
there and done it? And
It's not drinking
Yeah.
mainly. It's the fact that I just think it's a load of egotistical pond. Really, when you break it down, and we're all guilty of it. But
Of
like,
course.
Was there any networking there? Like, were people there to make moves, or were they all just getting smashed?
There were certain things I'd go to that was good for networking, but half of it is
yeah, how close are we to an Elro Adele collab? Can you imagine?
Probably not.
Yeah.
But
I
no,
imagine she
there
does
were
like a good
pros
night
to it, but the majority of it, and like I say, I was young. I was just getting pissed. Really, I mean, I was.
Was it other stuff you got free? Like, I know you got alcohol and nightclubs.
Yeah,
Did you get like clothes and stuff?
Yeah, I did. Puma used to.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you did.
They were solid with me. That was cool. Yeah, so you get to go down to like Puma headquarters and go upstairs, and it's mad because it's like the best Puma shop you've ever seen with all unreleased stuff, and it's free. So it's like, even if it wasn't, you'd go in there and see all the stuff, and be like, oh, this is so sick. But you can not only do that, you can then go, can I have that.
So no limit. You can just take everything if you wanted.
Pretty much. I mean, I never tried. Well, I say I didn't take the piss. I probably did, but
Yeah.
But you're in a position to, so they
they
probably
don't
expect
care.
it.
They don't. They literally. They never.
No,
see
they got
profit.
limited shoes.
It was-
Puma.
yeah.
They don't care what
It was
you're
just
taking.
if they had it in your size there, you could.
Yeah.
Have it.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's all promo for them at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, and so I used to go there quite often when I was in London. Oh, that's another thing. I left 4 pairs of trainers on the tube once
Oh no.
because I had these big bags that came out of Puma, like stopped. Got off one of the trains. I was like, "Fuck! I've just left 4 pairs of brand new fuck." Do you know
Made
what? I was
someone's
just
day.
as gutted as if I'd have paid for them.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's still 4 pairs of fucking.
You don't want to call and go, can I come back?
Yeah.
Can I come back and get some more free shoes?
Also, they bought me this is a bit bad. They bought me like a $5,000 camera, and I left that in the back of a illegal taxi. So had it
what?
been a legal taxi, I'd have.
What's
probably
an
had-
illegal taxi?
Just in London, like you'll often find there's just people driving around,
Like unlicensed.
unlicensed taxis.
Oh, just offering
Yeah,
lifts.
just doing
Yeah,
lifts for
okay.
money a bit cheaper than
Yeah.
normal taxis. And it turns out it was one of them, so I could never get
Ah,
that. But again,
no.
it would have been a camera that, although presented to me as if a gift,
Yeah.
wasn't a gift. It's a gift on future earnings of you.
Yeah, of course.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? So left that in the back of an old cab, so they weren't too happy with me.
Oh my
for that.
God.
But,
Whilst we're talking about cameras and clothes,
yeah.
going back to your advance,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask you how much it was, but did you blow it on anything big? Because obviously at that age, getting a big lump sum of money.
I actually,
Did you do anything?
I didn't get it all in one. I was sort of, I know what I'm like. so I was
Cautious.
drip fed it. So no, I mean I think the most elaborate thing I bought was a PlayStation and some games.
Rock and roll.
Had I got around to signing the album deal, I would have bought a car and stuff like that. But the label folded a few days before I was able to do that, so that never came about. But I've never really been that bothered about that sort of thing.
If you got around to signing the album deal, what are we talking? No, what are we talking? Like, is it tens of thousands?
Yeah, but it's not probably not as much as you'd think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tens of thousands.
But that was only the beginning
But
payment.
that's the first.
Then you
one.
get.
Then it goes. Yeah, that's your advance.
Okay.
You get.
Yeah.
But let's say had I got to album 3,
Yeah.
then it would have been
Big bucks.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, never happened in the end.
At what point did it feel like, or you knew that it had just come to an end?
I don't know.
Not to be morbid or depressing, like, let's say, but that.
I guess I just got to a point where I just didn't feel like I wanted to do it as often anymore. And at that point, I guess I had so many problems other than this in my life, just existing in general, that I never really had time to think about what anything. Well, obviously, when the label folded, that was a big blow for me. Financially, it wasn't, because I just signed.
Did any of the labels come in for you at that time?
No, I didn't really know what to do.
Okay.
So I just kept.
And what about the manager that you had then? That she folded with the label?
Yeah, she was with
Yeah.
the label, and I was more than happy for
You
that.
just had no one here to advise.
Not
That's
really.
the issue, isn't
So
it?
you had all those people around you once they were sort of
Yeah.
running. Then as soon as it folded,
Yeah.
was it just like
Yeah.
on your own
Pretty much, yeah. Just on your own.
in London? Or were you living in London at the time, or
No,
just
so
staying there?
I was
In the back of an
in
Addison Lee.
hotels 3 or 4 days a week when I was with the label, but then when that happened, yeah, I was.
So the good thing, I guess, from your perspective, is as soon as they folded, all your debts were just wiped.
Yeah, there's no debt. There's
So
no debt at all.
that was good,
So
I
I got
guess.
my money and I got to live like a rock star for a bit. Granted, my mental health was fucked because of it,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's no financial issues from it. I don't know if that's the same for everyone, but with my deal,
Yeah.
there's no. You have to earn a certain amount before you start paying stuff back. Otherwise, I wouldn't have signed it.
But right now, you are Lup0le,
I am.
and we're beat making.
Yeah, I would say producing in general.
Producing, okay.
Because it's beat making, and it's song making, and it's mixing and stuff. So I'd say, and also I do quite a few artists that come to me. I'll polish their lyrics, shall we say? Like there's loads.
Oh, you'll help with the writing side
Yeah,
of
so
things.
they'll come to me, and it'll
Yeah.
be 90% really good, and there'll just be the odd bit where the odd syllable can be polished and this and that. And so we'll go through it all, and I'll show them what I would do, and 9 times out of 10 they'll agree, and then we'll just do that. So I do have a bit of input on people's lyrics and stuff. Well, I have written songs for a couple of people as well, but mainly what I'm doing is producing and mixing and engineering.
Where is this happening? Have you got your own studio?
Yeah, I've got
or?
a studio down the bottom of Chepstow, basically. So I work from there. But I do sometimes go to Birmingham to do stuff, and London, blah blah blah. But predominantly from my studio in Chepstow. Yeah.
So being on both sides of it, you used to write and rap, now you're making the beats. Does that make things easier? Because I always do wonder what does an artist, do they write to the beat? Do they write something then try and find a beat? Because I imagine that would be difficult to find a
It
beat
makes
to something.
perfect sense to me. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm doing the audio equivalent of rapping now.
Right,
All I
okay.
do now is rap with sounds around people's vocals.
Right.
I've just flipped the mirror. I'm making patterns that people like, but now I'm doing it with the vocal as the stencil. Whereas before I was using the beat as the stencil and filling that in. Now I get a vocal I like and I fill around that. So it's like, I feel like it just makes sense to me, because essentially I'm just finding rhythms and patterns I like and putting them around
Yeah.
the vocals.
Just
So
making
I
them
think
make
it
sense,
It
yeah.
definitely helps with mixing, because the whole time I was rapping, I was always quite particular with what I wanted mix-wise and that sort of thing. So that helps, because I can suggest to an artist, oh, if this was my song, I would do this. I'll freeze reverb into that, have some chops, blah, blah, blah. So that definitely helps, because I've got an experience in what I liked when I was making rap. So that speeds up the process for sure.
And who are you working with right now?
Quite a few people, to be
Yeah.
fair. There's some I can't quite announce yet, but
Who are you working with that you can't announce right now?
Who are you not working with?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll do that. We can
Earlier
talk.
we mentioned Eminem. I'm not going to ask if you're working with him, but on his newest album,
Yeah.
he's essentially killed Slim Shady.
Yeah,
Have you killed Elro?
that's a good question.
That's a
Or is
very
he on
good
holiday?
question, yeah.
Not technically,
Okay.
but he'll pop back for bits and bobs, but I don't like relying on it. It's a whole different animal when it's your everything, and that needs to work. Whereas now I've got producing, I've got my mixing, which brings a bit of money in, so I'm all right. I don't have to drop Elro, and it doesn't have to do numbers, which changes the whole dynamic of it.
Yeah.
So my idea is I've got a couple bits in the works, but basically just do it as and when, which is a terrible business plan for any up and coming artist.
Well, I was going to say, so...
But it's not. I'm not trying to be world. No.
Well, Elro had a name. Elro is a name.
Yeah.
And it would make business sense to release something to then push people to the studio, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm happy to use it as a platform for other stuff, but it's just, I want to do it on my terms. I don't want to be forced into doing anything that I don't want to do anymore, and so I feel like it'll be more of a sparing thing. You know, like Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
Drops a tune and fucks off for a while.
Yeah,
and
just
no
does
one
what he
cares
wants.
'cause
Yeah.
It's him doing that thing.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I want to do. I'm not saying I'm going to be dropping a tune every month. I'm just saying that if I feel like I've got something to say,
Yeah.
then I'll do it. But I've no pressure on myself to do it. And I also, my production's got to the point now where I like it enough where I could produce a self-produced thing. If I
Well,
wanted.
that's it now. It'll all be
So-
in-house, I guess. So
Yeah,
you
but,
get on with it, yeah.
A couple of things I've got in the pipeline are collaborations, and that's why some opportunities have arisen that I ain't going to turn down.
Like
So that's
Elro
why-
featuring Elro, produced by Elro.
Yeah. Well, basically,
That would be good.
a couple of tunes just me doing verses on, but and I've also got a catalogue of stuff that I finished ages ago that I haven't released. But
Well, I was going to say, is there anything... do you feel like that would ever be released, or have you moved on?
No,
Is that the
there's
old
certain
Elro?
things- There's certain things that I will release. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just.
Yeah, it's
ride
difficult to
waves.
say, yeah.
I just ride waves.
Yeah.
I try not to. If I overthink stuff, I just get lost, and I feel like I don't know what I want.
Do you miss the stage at all?
No.
You don't miss it
Not
at
the
all?
stage. I miss. What do I miss? I guess I miss connecting with as many people as I did when I was doing it a lot.
Yeah, it must have been nice, yeah.
But I don't miss going on the stage now.
I assume though, if you woke up tomorrow thinking, I want to bring Elro back, I want to tour, I want to release songs, I want to do freestyles, it would be totally different to the first time round.
Yeah.
The no drinking thing would obviously play a massive part of
Play
it.
a fairly big part, yeah.
But then in terms of you as a person, how much you've grown since then, the experiences you've had and gone through, I guess you'd probably approach it differently anyway.
So, this is the thing as well, like, I don't really feel like Elro anymore. Like, that feels like a character or a part of my life. It doesn't really feel like me anymore. So it's like, you're always battling this, well, do people just want me to do some bars about fingering and
Yeah.
again, do you know what I mean? Or people
Well, would you rebrand it or not?
the thing is, it works as it is.
Yeah, I know,
So
yeah.
what I'm thinking is,
But that's what that's what they expect from Elro.
But so what I'm thinking is, I'll give them a bit of that they
Yeah.
want, but then I'll drop some other stuff in between that I haven't even decided yet. There's a chance that I would do it as a different name if it's a totally different style of thing.
Yeah.
But because I think the Elro thing is pigeonholed to a certain extent, but then there's two different types of people I've found that are fans of my stuff. There's people that are into the deep depressing shit, and then there's people that's into the jokey shit. So I've got those two fan bases that are quite different. But
Have you got your music on like Spotify and stuff?
Yeah,
Or the
yeah,
old stuff?
yeah,
And is
yeah.
that your account?
depends which bits, to be fair.
Because I imagine you'd still be getting listens and
Yeah, I still
money
get a
in
bit.
from that.
It's not a huge amount, but I still get a bit.
Because going back to when the freestyles dropped, it wasn't like London or the UK, it was the world.
Yeah, well, here's an idea that I had actually. So what I was thinking is now I'm producing, and now that because do you know why half my freestyles would be on streaming, if the producers weren't so difficult.
Oh, really?
It's just been like certain things I've contacted the original producer and they've said, oh, blah, blah, well, I need $2,000 or whatever. And I'm like,
So you are a producer now. So what would be...
So here's the thing. So what I might do is, when I start drip feeding the other stuff, I might do my own remixes where I make my own beats to the original freestyles and then put them on Spotify so people can hear my new production with my old bars.
Like a re-release.
Exactly, but make something specific for...
That would be actually really good. I'd actually be excited to hear that.
Yeah, because that way as well, like, it is reusing old stuff, but it's also making it brand new at the same time. Because a lot of my stuff keeps going viral on TikTok.
It's a new app.
Viral on, brand new. At the minute. And so it seems like the young generation of finally, they're hearing it now. And
you might be forced to come back.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
That might happen.
It's almost nostalgia as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you heard it 12, 13 years ago,
That's it.
and you might not have heard it since,
That's it.
then you go back to talking about two goats on a tandem.
There you go.
And it's like, oh.
Exactly.
And then
so,
going back to whatever you were doing back then, just instantly comes back, doesn't it?
Exactly. So I'm thinking of doing some remixes of those. Because that's, like I say, that's how I start most of my beats anyway.
Yeah.
I find a vocal and then I decorate around
Do that, yeah.
So I might drop a few of those and then put them on Spotify and see how they do. But also, I do just love producing for other people. And I don't really, if I'm honest, as I've got older, enjoy being the face of it as much. When I was drunk, it was cool.
That's what I meant. Like, do you miss the stage? You don't really.
Nah, not at all.
You're not in it for the notoriety.
I'm a quiet old man.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same. Yeah.
I can't be fucked.
Yeah.
I don't even like going to cities that much because there's just people everywhere.
I'm sorry, man. We dragged you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Newport's alright. I can live in Newport. But like going to the middle of London, just busy twats everywhere.
I know.
And I'm just I just can't. And also even like the BTEC Z-list experience I had of getting noticed. It's all well and good if you're drunk and you're casual. I'm wooden as fuck now. People, if you know, in the rare occasion when people still do come up to me, I don't even know what the fuck they're saying.
Disappoint them.
I literally think, someone came up to me in Tesco the other day, in Tesco Extra in Bulwark, started asking me if I was Elro and all that. I literally didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, do I need to do something else? Have I offered him enough?
Do I start rapping?
Is he going to rude?
Yeah.
I don't enjoy, like, don't get me wrong, people come up to me and if they say, oh, it's great.
It's
really
nice. Yeah.
It's just that when I say I'm an awkward cunt, I'm always drunk.
Yeah.
That was an actual true bar.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with myself. I don't really miss being noticed as much as I used to get noticed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although when you're drunk, it is an ego boost. You know, you'd be lying if you said it isn't. But then when you're not drunk, it's just fucking hectic as fuck.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
You just don't know.
Stay sober, man. Stay sober.
Yeah. Oh, that's happening for sure.
Yeah.
Because I can't. I've tried the other option.
Yeah.
I've tried many variations of it as well.
Okay.
And it just doesn't work.
That's another podcast.
That's another.
Try
We
an
do a
hour.
whole podcast on that.
I think we probably wrap it up. I always say we're going to be 45 minutes to an hour. I think we've been going an hour and a half.
Have we?
I think so. I'm sure I can tell it. Yeah.
Really?
Almost.
Right, what a narcissistic cunt. I didn't even know.
But if people do want to notice you, where are they going to notice you? Where what's the socials?
Not in Tesco, no.
Not in Tesco, Bulwark,
yeah. At Elro Raps or at Lup0le, L-U-P, the number 0, L-E, so L-U-P-O-L-E, but the O is the number O.
And I have one last question. You've mentioned collaborations or even maybe another track. This side of Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Is all I'll say on that.
Man, that's me done then.
I'm done too. I'll just thank you to Elro for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Everyone who's watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this video.
Peace.
Bye.
Sweet.